Hi everyone, hope you're all doing wonderful. I hope the videos here are helping you with your IELTS preparation. In today's video, we will learn how to construct relative clauses. This is going to come in handy especially with the IELTS writing and speaking modules. If you're new here and haven't yet subscribed, I would urge you to take a moment to click on the like button. This will help the YouTube algorithm reach out to more people. I would also urge you to subscribe and be a part of this growing community. Let's get into the video. A relative clause is a dependent clause that provides more information about the noun or the pronoun that it's referring to. As you all know, a dependent clause contains a subject and a verb. However, it cannot stand on its own. It needs the help of an independent clause to complete its meaning. Relative clauses can add more variety to sentence structures, especially in the writing and speaking modules. Now, there are two ways to form a relative clause. You can use relative pronouns or relative adverbs to form a relative clause. Now, the relative pronouns are that, which, who, whose, and whom. Relative adverbs are where, when, and why. It is important to understand how to employ them when constructing sentences. Who, whose, and whom are used to talk about people. Which is used to talk about things. That can be used to talk about both people and things. Who, which, and that are most commonly used in IELTS writing. The relative adverb where is used to refer to a place. When is used to talk about time, and the relative adverb why is used to highlight a reason. Before we get into constructing sentences with relative clauses, we have to learn about defining relative clause and non-defining relative clause. A defining relative clause is crucial for conveying the full meaning of a sentence. Without it, the sentence may become ambiguous or incomplete. The book that I'm currently reading is my favorite. This means that I've read many books, but the one that I'm currently reading is my favorite. In the case of defining relative clause, we don't need a comma. Now let's move on to non-defining relative clauses. These clauses provide extra information. Here the sentence remains complete and intact even if the clause is removed. Make sure to add commas before and after the relative clause. Example, this book which I'm currently reading is my favorite. This sentence feels complete even without the relative clause. This is how it reads if you remove the clause. This book is my favorite. The clause, which I'm currently reading, is extra information, and removing this does not hinder the meaning of the sentence. Now here are some examples of relative clauses. Make note of how they are punctuated. You can use relative clauses in both Task 1 and Task 2 of the writing module as well as in the speaking module. The price of cars, which saw a slump in 2020, has now stabilized due to increased demand. Here is the next example. The number of women students who enrolled for the literature class was fairly high. Here, if we remove the relative clause, who enrolled for the literature class, the sentence would feel incomplete. It would read as, the number of women students was fairly high. Here the relative clause holds a lot of pertinent information. It tells us exactly which class had a high enrollment of women students. Now let's look at the next example. The volume of toys that was sold in the first quarter of this year was the highest compared to the second quarter. Let's look at another example. The factories that were located at some of the prominent places has now been replaced by residential buildings. Here from this sentence, we are led to believe that there were factories located in not so popular areas. Anytime you use the relative clause that, It is considered essential information and not something that you can leave out. Here is another one. People who signed up for the program received some amount of assistance. In this example, the relative clause is necessary in understanding the complete meaning of the sentence. If we just say, people received some amount of assistance, we are essentially leaving out the most important piece of information. Another example. One area that needs to be integrated into every school curriculum is financial literacy. Let's look at this one here. Online learning, which offers the convenience of studying from the comfort of one's home, is preferred by many. Here is another one. The association whose responsibility is maintaining law and order must enforce its rights. The professor with whom I spoke discussed his research project in detail. The relative clause with whom I spoke is extra information. Hence we have this clause within commas. If we remove the relative clause, the sentence would read as, the professor discussed his research project in detail. The meaning still remains intact. Now let's take a look at how to form sentences using relative adverbs. This remote area where I plan to visit this summer is well known for its scenic beauty. Here the relative adverb where is used to refer to the remote area. The next example. The moment when she heard their story changed the trajectory of her life. This is another example of a defining relative clause. The relative clause helps us to get the complete picture of what the sentence is trying to convey. The last example. The bizarre reason why she wanted to participate in the contest left everyone stunned. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, kindly click on the like and the subscribe button. It would do me a world of good. I look forward to your support in growing and monetizing this channel. Check out my IELTS Facebook group for helpful tips and resources. If you are looking for IELTS classes, mock speaking tests, or essay services, feel free to connect. I will see you all soon with another video.